Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday. It's August 23rd. This will be our chart lesson today, and what looked like was going to be another nice trend day turned into a relatively low volume sideways day. So we had some pretty good movement and volume in the overnight, but it just kind of dried up here and during the day. So this is a range day, really. Even though we traded down most or all of the overnight, really. Um, we were stuck inside this range of let's see 24.41.50 to basically 24.47.75 or so, um, and actually early on we were stuck in the range between this level here, you can see that line I have in there, and this level. As the day wore on, this became your new high, and this, of course, there's your midline right there, and you can see prices kind of working both sides of that. So but early on, I was playing this as a range, really, and you had to be, you had to be real careful. There's one spot here you might have gotten tripped up here, and that's the danger of going short at the very low. It's not the low of the day, but it's the low of that move, and you might have got tripped up right there. So only problem is we had this channel working up. This is like a little spiking channel, and then we pulled back, and we made a new high here. And that is a lower high, but a lot of times you get two legs up, and you know, and, and honestly, you really could have even considered long here. And if you went short here and got burned, I'd definitely reverse here. Um, you really didn't have this midline in there yet, and without that, the only reason I really don't like going long there still off a regular entry is because of that little trend line right there, and you have no break of that, and that might have led you to say, hey, this is a range, this looks range like here, but and you might have went short, but that's, if you did, you just got burned, you just got fooled right there. There's nothing else you can do about that. um, the one thing I would tell you, you're going short right into the EMA there, and that's always especially when we've been trending up here, so that's definitely a concern, because a lot of times you do get two legs up to a new high, which we did there. It actually continued to work higher after that. So there's actually, if you look over here, you can actually get another line right across there. But in the end, I ended up removing that. I just couldn't make it really fit that well down here. It fits right here coming up, but um, to me, you're better off playing the range. So I ended up, I didn't end up playing it that way. But you could have looked, if you did see it that way, that's okay. It's there. But I believe you're better off playing this as a range and trying to sell the highs and buy the lows here. So, um, and just always remember, the stuff in the middle is, once you realize it's a range, the stuff in the middle is the ones that are a problem more often than not. So, but yeah, we had this first leg down, and so you were looking for a new leg here, and you already had that measured move here, and you couldn't get back to this trend line. So again, you would have had to go short at the low of the day there to enter right there. That's the first entry. This is basically a lower high, but it's right into the very low of the day. It would have worked, but you don't know that at the time, and that's always dangerous. So you really had to sit tight till after the regular open to find a decent trade here. So of course that was a fairly easy one. It didn't go real far, and you didn't get any runners or anything, but it was a fairly easy trade. There's actually two in a row here. So, but let's talk about the trades, and we'll wrap it up. It's not going to take long today, and I'm going to try to get out of here early. But of course, we're moving down. You get your first close outside. You get a first entry. You move up. You get a second entry short right here. You can't go short below that. That's really your signal bar. But this has an equal top, and that's a big bar. So you might have considered it. The only problem with going short there is you're right into the EMA, just like we talked about over here a minute ago. It's a fairly large bar, and if you'd have went short below that bar, you'd have got burned. The way I saw playing this one was still using this as your signal bar, and when it broke below here, dropping your limit order back up here where it should have been below that bar. And if you did that, it would have worked. If you did that, it wouldn't have been too bad a trade, but I think this bar is too big. And, if you went short there, it probably would have been a 1, 2, it probably would have been about a 3-tick failure. And either way, when it reversed here, I don't have a problem with either entering long there or reversing if you got stuck in that trade. But if you traded it properly, you would have been out. It would have bounced and stopped you out on your runner. If you used a runner there, which you probably should have had a runner there because we were still working a downtrend at that point. So, but I like going long there, and I really thought we were going to catch a nice reversal. Didn't turn out to be that way. It's easy scalp. It does come back to that trend line again and confirms that this trend line's correct here. You might have originally had it like that, and this is actually another. Been having troubles with my mouse again here lately. You might have had it like that, and that would have also been giving you another clue. Early on, that's where you should have had it off those first 2 swings. And that would have given you more concern about going short there and probably would have kept you out of there. Notice how it gapped over that. It ended up backing up and overlapping, but it gapped over that. So that usually tells you, tells you something when you see that. So that probably would have kept you out of that short. And but if you were looking at it the way I have it drawn here, then you could have entered the way I explained it earlier, and you could have entered long regardless. This one's a little bit more questionable. It's just a first entry, but it's another big bullish bar right off the trend line, the EMA, and it looked like we were going to reverse here. Again, you're going long right into the high, right back into this last high as well, and you barely got room there. So you got to make that one green. It's definitely aggressive. Where was this line? I didn't put it back in the right spot. Right there. Actually, it's down 1. Nope, that's it. So then we get 2 legs down. We get the break, and this is just a double test. Notice this area right here. We tested it once, and you can see we're testing this on both sides. It was acting as resistance here and here, and then it's acting as support here, and now this is the second touch of that. So, and it's a second entry long. If you draw that little trend line, it was a break and a new low. So I like going long there. It's not a perfectly bullish bar, but it's more bullish than it is negative. You might have let it break higher and drop the limit order. You could have got filled almost way back down here. But I like that one. If you notice the double test and all that, it may have shaken you out because it just kept going sideways there and finding resistance at EMA. And that's generally a sign, that something's not quite right. And you might have jumped out of that one. If you did do that, hopefully you didn't jump out with a loss. You got out at least at break even, but definitely, hopefully with a tick or two anyway. But that's why I always say sometimes it's better off just to hold on because you'll get fooled. If you exit, you'll wish you hadn't of. If you don't exit, you generally wish you had. So you can't pick and choose. You just have to decide how you want to play it. And I've learned that I leave it alone generally. And unless there's something that happens there that leads me to believe that I misread it, I generally leave mine alone, leave my stop there, and I don't monkey with a trade. So now we bounce back up, and of course we find resistance here again. In this case, you want to wait on the lower high because that's the first. We had the break, move to a new high, but that's just one straight leg up. That's the first break, and then we get a first entry, pull back another second entry long right there. So you might have considered entering there, but I just think it's a little dangerous with that trend line working down. And there is enough room at that point. This was your resistance up here. but we just came off the high, and we're usually headed to the low. So that's a concern. It does run up, and you get the failed breakout, and that's a second entry short. Notice that new low, first entry, pull back, second entry. So, and that's basically 2 measured legs. So I like that one. That one's got short all over it. Pretty easy trade. There's a lower high here back inside the range, but it's more bullish than it is bearish. So unless you had a really good bar here, if you did, you could consider going short at that point, because we just had a failed break higher, and you're probably at least going to get a measured leg. We didn't quite get one. If you measure that, you can see it's not quite a measured leg. You can see it's close, missed it by a tick or so, but if you had a better signal bar there, you could have considered going short. You can't go long again. You get a higher low here that bounces off the EMA, but it's right back into that double top. So I don't think you want to go long there, and it's actually the first break of this, so it may just push up there and make a new high and turn down. But look what it does here. It comes up, it tests this high, pulls back, comes back, gives it a first test, comes back, goes back again and gives it a second test. So that's a double test of that. Even though it's all sideways, that's a double test. And plus it's another test of those 2 highs right there. And you can see that was a pullback to retest that level. And so on that lower, on that third test right there, or that third touch, or rather it's really a second test, but it's the third touch, I like going short right there. You get a lower high here, but that's right back into what looks like the EMA, and it's just, you know, there's 2 legs down there, so it's really, there's really a hidden second entry right there, long, but it's right back into what you can see now, how we've been kind of, how that midline's been playing as a, you know, we've been pivoting back and forth above and below it. So, and in the middle is where your dangerous trades are. So I'm not crazy about that one. I think you were better off to skip it. You might argue for it to be green. It is a third touch too, so it does confirm the trend line, that short-term trend line coming down through there. So you know, there's probably some reasons to argue that you could make that one green. And then, of course, we come back again here. It's just, and there's really 2 swings up. We move up, down, up. And that's a fairly bearish bar, but it's right into that low, and there's a bunch of lows across there at this point. Look at them. If you take that line, and so I just don't think you want to risk that. And you see what happens. It's a failed break lower, and now you got a double test 1 time, 2 times of that level right there. So I like going long there again, and that, you could ride that all the way back up to the other side. So, and that's really about all there was today. It really was just a slow, kind of low volume day, unlike the last couple of days we've had, where we've had a lot of good movement. So, there weren't a lot of trades. There weren't a lot of easy to see trades. There's a few, because it's a range day in the middle, there's a few, you know, traps and things like that that could trip you up. And you know, even if you're a pretty good price action reader, you could still get tripped up today. So if you struggled today, don't beat yourself up over it. It wasn't an easy day, so I'll leave it at that. So anyway, that's it for today. I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna get out of here early today. I hope you had a good trading day. We'll be back again tomorrow to wrap up our week. And but I'm out of here for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.